The New Orleans Jesters are back for the 2017 season, and we're here to get you ready for the year with the premiere of the Jesters Court. We will look back at a 2016 season that had its ups, but ended on a disappointing down. We will examine the roster for the 2017 season, including some of the new faces that will wear the purple, green, and black. And one of those new faces will be our instructor in this week's training tips, while one of the returning Jesters will be joking around. We kick off the 2017 season right here on the Jesters Court next. This is the Walk-Ons Bistro and Bar on Poydras Street in the heart of New Orleans. Walk-Ons has been voted the #1 sports bar in America, and it's #1 in our hearts as it's the new home of the Jesters Court. And we welcome you inside for the first episode of the 2017 season. Paul Bourne along with Coach Kenny Farrell. And Coach, the season is upon us. I'm excited. I know you got to be excited.
Yeah, very excited. Tense, excited. You know, looking forward to a great season and how quickly it comes around.
Yeah. It really does. It feels like we just walked off the field in Chattanooga, and that was several months ago. So we're going to look ahead to the season in a bit, but we're going to start by looking back at last season. And Coach, last year we had a lot of highlights in the 2016 season, but not enough highlights as it came down to the end of the season. You couldn't get to that top spot in the playoffs, and you ended up with a lower seed. So just talk about the regular season, what you were happy about, and maybe what you were unhappy about.
Well, you know, the quality of the soccer that we played, I was quite happy with. I thought we underachieved, really. I mean, we got into the playoff spot and played in that conference semi-final. We should have gone a step further and seen how further we could have gone after that, and so disappointed.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that semi-final loss to Memphis. It was a hot day in Chattanooga, and you guys kind of had your chances, and then disaster kind of struck and really bit you in the end.
Yeah, so we play in this kind of Final Four system. We play on Friday, and we played Memphis, and we opened the game, but we were scheduled to play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just happened to be one of the hottest days in the year.
Yeah.
And it was on a field turf field. It was really hot on the field. And we opened up really well. We'd 3 or 4 clear-cut chances, I felt, to go 1-0 up. But when you play in those conditions, if you go behind after the first goal, it's very hard to chase because it's so difficult conditions. And what happened was we gave away a penalty kick. It's unfortunate. I think the referee could have given it or not given it. You couldn't blame him for giving it, but I wouldn't have given it on the day. And then they go 1-0 up, and then we got to chase the game. So it was one of those. It was like who was going to get the first goal. Looked like they were going to win the game, and I'll give them credit. They got it, and it's unfortunate for us, really.
So that was last season. Let's turn the page to 2017. And earlier this week, your players met with the media for the Jesters Media Day. And first off, we want to thank all of the local media outlets that came out. Very much appreciated. They got to meet some of the new Jesters as well as a couple of our returning players. Second season with the Jesters. Obviously, last year was a frustration for you with the injuries. Just talk about how excited you are for this season.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I mean, like you said, I had a few injuries last year. Hopefully recovered from them now and ready to play again. Just getting acclimatized to this very hot place, to be honest, and trying to get used to that and as fit as possible for the first couple of games.
I know this team felt like last year could have been even better. How much does that drive you guys, and how excited are you guys to kind of prove that this year?
I mean, yeah, I turned up last year and I thought the team was excellent, but a few things let us down in certain places. But this year I turned up a lot more confident, and I really feel like the team that we got this year is very, very good and will challenge top place.
I'm excited. We got new guys in right behind me. It looks like they're pretty good. We open up our home game against Chattanooga, which is a huge game, so I'm very much looking forward to the season and what it entails.
Obviously, this team kind of felt like things could have been much better last year. How much does that drive you guys going into this?
It's kind of annoying because we know the level we can play at, but it just comes down to consistency and staying in form. every team battles it. It's just about getting in the right form at the end of the season.
So, Coach, those are two of your returning players that you hope will lead you into taking the next step in the Southeast. Talk about both of the Masons there.
Well, let's start with Mason Walsh. Obviously, has played at a very high level in England with Bournemouth, which is in the Premier League. He, was a young kid coming through there, got signed as a pro. Unfortunately, he hit a few injuries, but he did come here and play with us when he was 17 years old. He's back now, fully fit. Looking forward to a very exciting season for him and for us. And I'm going to depend on him, in the situation that he's in, to create a lot of chances for us and to get a few goals here and there. But I think he's matured a lot, and there's no question about the talent. And then you look at the local player, Mason Maurice. He's played at the University of Memphis. It came through. First saw him when he played for me with an Olympic development team a few years ago, He's coming through to be a very good player, and he's maturing all the time. And you see his touch, you see his balance, you see his relationship with the ball, and he's becoming very adept at reading situations during the game. So, they'll hopefully they can perform to the best of their ability and take us there. They're very good players.
They are very good players, and we look forward to seeing them on the field, starting with the Louisiana Cup on Wednesday and here on Saturday against Chattanooga. Well, we're just getting started on the premiere edition of the Jesters Court. Up next, we'll have our coaches breakdown, where Kenny will look at some familiar faces as well as a couple of the new players. And we'll have our training tip with one of those new additions when we return on CST. This edition of the Jesters Court is presented by Heineken. Open your world. By Rockin' Bowl. And by Walk-Ons. Everyone needs a little playing time.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
Welcome back to the Jesters Court here at our new home, Walk-Ons on Poydras Street. And it's time for our Coaches Breakdown presented by Heineken. And Coach, as opposed to the regular season where you'll be breaking down game highlights and key moments in the matches, we're going to break down the roster. And we're going to start with some of the returning players. And you got to start with the returning Mr. Jester, Tony Giudice.
The original Jester, as they call him. Yeah, I mean, he's been on the training pitch again. I mean, as I say, I know him since he was a teenager. He's played with us through the years. He's doing some assistant coaching as well as playing right now. And he sets the tone for us. I suppose one of the best things that he does for us is, if there's a loose ball in the 18-yard box, the opposing 18, he gets on it and finishes it. And then, one thing I looked at coming into this season was getting the goalkeeping right and getting the central defensive pairing right. And I've got a mixture of 4 players that can play at central defense this year that I think are super players. And I've got 2 goalkeepers, one local and one that came from overseas that are top class. And the central defensive, I don't think it's ever been as strong as, I can go through Luke Levanway and I can go through Curtis Thorne, Nathan Heath, and 80, as you've met this morning. Big boys, strong boys, but very good players. So I'm looking forward to finally fixing that part of the puzzle. That's not been the best for us over the years.
One of our returning players is Ryan Reed, and he had a great honor in the offseason as you brought him out to the NPSL showcase. He was very appreciative of the honor, and I got a chance to catch up with him out in Carson, California. What did it mean to you to get invited to this showcase?
It means a lot, I've worked really hard over my years of playing soccer, and to be able to be honored and have this opportunity means a lot to me. You can't go to a combine like this and just try and do everything yourself. So you just stick to your strengths, find your teammates' strengths, and if they shine, hopefully you'll shine too.
So that showcase was great for Ryan, but it was great for you because you actually brought a couple of players back from that showcase who will be newcomers to the Jesters this year.
So for Ryan Reed, it was great. I love Ryan Reed to death, and I want him to move to a higher level. His career path may not take him that way, but he did tremendous, and he's been phenomenal for us over the years, and you'll see him play again for us this year. And with with Keenan Armbruster, player I picked up, he's going to play out. He's going to play as a wing back for us out of the left. He was tremendous in the showcase, and he showed an interest in us, and I followed up on that. He really, in my opinion, should have been playing a higher level. He should have gone to a higher level than we are. I think he can play in Major League Soccer. But let's see if he can prove that for us this year. But from the showcase, it was great when I got talking to him when he wanted to come to New Orleans. And then Luke Levanway, as a central defender, and me being a former central defender, I was so impressed with him. Now, I followed up with him afterwards, and I asked him if he got picked up by anybody, and there was a lot of clubs called him but didn't bring him in. So, Chris Ramsey, the technical director of Queen's Park Rangers, who was out there at the time, thought he was a super player too. So we ended up chatting with each other, and he didn't come immediately. He gave me a phone call about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and said, listen, I'm interested in New Orleans. And I said, well, I'm interested in you. And he's coming in, and expect good things from him. He's a little bit injured right now. He won't be playing for about 3 weeks. But when he comes back, he will be very good for us.
Well, and he was really good in that showcase. He actually scored a goal in one of the games off of set piece. So he was one of the stars of the showcase. I also had a chance to catch up with him in Carson, California.
I'm trying to show him that I could be a leader, and I think, taking a group of guys that we don't all know each other super well, and kind of building that team coherence, that chemistry. I think that's something I want to bring to the table, as well as, be a strong presence in the back. It's just the type of thing, you right place, right time. I mean, a lot of these guys could have done, they could have been the last shooter, they could have done all that, and I guess I had no problem with the pressure.
Now, Kenny, one of your other new players is Adi Olu, and he is going to be a defender for you. You mentioned him as a central defender, and he's going to teach us a little bit about defending the ball in the air. It is our training tip presented by Rock and Bowl and Ye Olde College Inn.
Hello, my name is Adi and Olu, second name. I play centre back, and it's my first year for the New Orleans Jesters. Today I'll be teaching you how to drive a ball 30 to 40 yards. The number one mistake I see with young players is the standing foot. They don't put the standing foot next to the ball. So the standing foot has got to be next to the ball, and it's got to be facing the direction that they're kicking the ball to. So how to drive a ball, first of all, you just put the ball down, take a couple steps back, maybe 2 or 3, depending on how comfortable you are. Then as we drive a ball, you've got to put your standing foot, obviously I'm right-footed, so standing foot facing my opponent. And when I drive a ball, knees over the ball, chest over the ball, head, and we're going to go through our laces. So my knee will go over the ball, and my laces will be underneath the ball. So my laces, I'm trying to drive the ball here, so it doesn't go up in the sky, it goes straight to my partner. So for a good driven ball to your opponent, just quick tips, make sure whether you're left or right foot, make sure your standing foot is next to the ball, make sure your toes is facing your opponent, and when you're dribbling the ball with the laces, make sure you get underneath the ball, your head over the ball and your knee over the ball for a good driven shot to your opponent.
Coming up next, Coach is going to take your questions, and we'll hear from the Royal Court on how you can get involved in the match day fun. New Orleans Jesters soccer is back for the 2017 season, and now is the time to be a part of the action. Catch the Louisiana Cup as well as all of the NPSL action with new opponents coming to Pan American Stadium. Season tickets are just $65 for adults and $35 for children under 14. Single game and group tickets are available as well. Go to nolajesters.com or call 504-312-3979. As we bring you back to the Jesters Court and you look around at our great crowd here at Walk-Ons, those are our special guests, the U9s, who won the Emerald Coast Cup last weekend. Congrats to them, and we will hear from a few of them in just a moment if we can hear ourselves think. Coach, great accomplishment for those kids, and it's just further evidence of your academy. Talk about the kids, talk about the academy, and what's happened since we last saw you.
Yeah, I think the important part of the academy is to understand what our philosophy is. It's individual development. Every player, no matter what level of an athlete you are, has to learn the game and learn how to play the game. And It's been, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've been, really coming out and sticking to this thing about teaching kids how to play the game, relationship with the ball, balance with the ball, and it's paying off for us. We play great soccer. Obviously, everybody wants to win a game. You can put all-star teams together to win games. I'm more interested in developing players, and that's what our academy is all about. And I want those players, if they have the desire and love the game, well enough to be good enough and have all the tools to go all the way. If they don't go all the way, they'll still be great players and have a great education. If they go all the way, let's push them on to the next level. That's what our academy's about.
Yeah, the academies have been great, and these kids are an evidence of some of the great things that are happening here in youth soccer in New Orleans. Well, we promised you were going to hear from a few of these kids. It's time for our Ask the Coach segment, and let's go to our first youngster with a question for the coach.
Hi, Coach. My name is Troy McGowan. Who's the best defender on the Jesters?
All right. Well, you're going to get put on the spot because you just said you've got a bunch of great new defenders. So who is the best defender on the Jesters?
Well, we've yet to play the first game, which is Wednesday night against Shreveport. But here's what I will tell you about the defenders. We have 2 wingbacks. Actually, 3 or 4 wingbacks. I mean, Jordan Rice is not in yet, but he's super. Addy, you spoke about, you've seen him in training, wonderful. Keenan Armbrust looks so good on the left-hand side. And at centre-back, Curtis Thorne is super. His organizational, abilities and being able to play the ball and read the game in training's been fantastic. Nathan Heath is coming in, who played for us last year, was super there. And then you've also got Luke Levanway injured, who I think is superb coming in. So to ask me who's the best, defensively, you got to break that down. Defensively, there's some great tacklers, some great winners of the ball. Attacking-wise, you've got some great win-backs going forwards. I really wouldn't like to say who was best. I just think we've got a great back 4, 5, 6 players right now.
All right, well, that's a terrific first question. Let's hear from another one of our little Jesters.
Hi, Coach Kenny. I'm Everett, and how long have you been coaching Jesters?
I've been a coach of the Jesters since it started, I think, which was 2008, and before that, the old Shell Shockers. But I've been a head coach since its inception, trying to move the club forward, and I don't know how long I'm going to coach beyond this year or next year, but we've got a great thing going.
Let's go to the social media portion of Ask the Coach, and this is from the Royal Court Roundtable. This is from Jamie Midgley. We're going to hear a good answer here, I think. How many pounds of crawfish do you think you're going to eat at the tailgate before the match? In general, how do you do on crawfish?
Jamie, I don't eat crawfish unless it's in etouffee. And second of all, if they got burgers out there, I'll be eating the burgers, but I ain't eating any crawfish, I can tell you that. Haven't got time to be peeling that stuff.
Let's talk to another one of our youth players who's got a question for Coach Farrell.
Who is the best all-time striker on the Jesters?
The best all-time striker for the Jesters has a guy called Jordan Holm, who played for us about 3 years ago. He's just signed a pro contract with Salford in the conference in England. If they hadn't signed him, he had said he would come back and play for us this year, but he's now a full-time pro in England and doing fantastically well. And hopefully he goes on to play up the leagues in England as well. Fantastic player.
All right, one more question from the Royal Court Roundtable. This is from Terry Allen Haynes. He wants to know what the strategy for getting the Jesters to the playoffs this year will be, and will we see any new formations?
Winning games. Win all your games at home, try and draw all your games on the road and sneak a win is how you do it. Can't make mistakes. You can't lose games you should win. We may see some different formations. I'm not going to say that on camera. I'm not going to give any of that away.
We got time for one more question from our young Jesters, so let's hear what that one is from our U9 champions.
Hi, Coach Team. My name is Jack Henry. And what's the best all-time goalie?
Okay, well, without question, it's Andrew Tarbell. Yeah. He's now playing in Major League Soccer. He started playing with the Jesters when he was 16 years old, and then went on to play in the NCAA Championship game, Division I, and they lost. but he was in a first-round draft pick in Major League Soccer. He's from Mandeville. He's a local. It's exactly what the Jesters are about at the moment, is getting those players through. And Andrew Tarbell would have to go down as our best goalkeeper.
And hopefully Andrew is finally going to see some time in San Jose. Of course, he's in a logjam with such talent in front of him that hopefully he'll get a chance to play. Well, our supporters group has always been a great part of the Jesters experience, and we want to hear now from our supporters group. And this is Jeff Hotard from our supporters group. Glad you could join us on the premiere edition of the Jesters Court. And you're always looking for new members. No better time than this weekend with what you got planned for the tailgate.
No better time than this weekend. This weekend we're doing a special season opening crawfish boil. $10 to non-members for people to come out, just walk up and join us. We have beer, we have crawfish, and we're going to have soccer afterwards. What more could you really ask for?
What about for the remainder of the season? How can people get involved in the Royal Court?
You can follow all our social media accounts. We got Facebook, Twitter, we got Gmail, Instagram, follow all that. It's $5 on a per game basis. It's $25 for the season for us to join every tailgate. It's one of the best deals in the city. Come out, come drink, support soccer, and have fun.
And more importantly, come out and make some noise, especially with the opener against Chattanooga.
Yeah, we hate Chattanooga, man.
You don't say. Well, Jeff,
we love more than beating Chattanooga.
Well, that's Jeff Hotard from the Royal Court. We encourage you to join the supporters group and be a part of Jesters Soccer. Well, we're almost done here, but the packed show isn't over just yet. When we come back, we will look at the week ahead. And earlier, we heard from a serious Mason Maurice. When we come back, we will joke around with the Jesters midfielder.
You gotta prove yourself to make it in America. It doesn't matter where you came from. I heard that I'd never make it, but I proved them wrong.
My name? You can call me Soccer.
Plenty of good food and fun always on tap at Walk-Ons, and we couldn't be happier that they are the home this season of the Jesters Court. Time to look at the week ahead for the Jesters, presented by Walk-Ons. And it starts Wednesday night as the Jesters start the season with the first leg of the Louisiana Cup in Shreveport. Last year, the Jesters clinched the cup there. This year, the battle starts in North Louisiana. Then on Saturday, we kick off the 2017 NPSL Southeast Conference play against our rivals and defending champs from Chattanooga. In between those matches, a pep rally and youth awards night at Rockin' Bowl Friday at 6 p.m. So a busy first week, Coach. We'll start with what happens in North Louisiana and just take us through the week. It's going to be a great week.
Well, look, we're opening up with the game away. We got to get a result on the road, but it's very, we'll be figuring out the team for the weekend as well. So not everybody will play full games. We'll, move the formation around a little bit and get some players in. Hopefully bring back a tie or a win, and then come home and win it next week with the Louisiana Cup. But being ready for Chattanooga on the weekend is very, very important. I think Chattanooga and I probably would have liked this game a little later in the season because we're usually, the two top teams in the league. But look, it's going to be a battle, so come down and enjoy a great battle on the pitch on Saturday night, and we'll see what happens.
And there's all sorts of festivities around Saturday's game. Go ahead and talk about that a little.
There's a petting zoo before the game for an hour from 5:45 to 6:45. There's a happy hour that starts at 5:30. It's 2 for 1 for beers, and there's our reserves are playing at 4 o'clock in the league that they play in. We're having a game there at 4 o'clock before that, and so there's be a lot of fun and festivity going on Saturday night. I won't see much of it. I'll be just getting ready for that game at 7.
Exactly. And we should mention that our conference is a little different this year. We've broken into divisions. We'll play each of our division rivals home and away, and then crossover against Atlanta and Georgia. Tell me why this came about and what do you think of it?
Well, we expanded the division. So, and we got teams, as far away as North Carolina and stuff like that. So it just became, in a conference meeting, people sat down and said, wait a minute, we have East and West. And so you got 5 and 5. But the difference this year will be that after the final game, or league game, regular season game, number one on the East and number 1 on the West goes straight to what would be considered the Final Four or championship weekend. Number 2 plays number 3 within their division. You're number 2, you're hosting a play-in game at home, and then when we get to the championship, it's going to be run like it always was, you know, but it'll just be cross-divisional.
I think it's a great setup, and it just shows, we keep talking about it, soccer keeps growing, our league is growing, 100 teams in the NPSL now, so it is really incredible. Well, enough of the serious business. It's time to joke around, and this week it is Mason Maurice, our midfielder, who is going to take us through his most embarrassing song on his playlist and the worst job he's ever had.
I'm Mason Maurice. I'm a midfielder. I'm 21, and this is my second year with the Jesters. Favorite movie? Gotta go with Step Brothers. It's a classic.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
I just finished watching White Collar, so right now I'm on that, but probably White Collar. We're going White Collar. I'd be confused. I wouldn't know. I was talking with teammates with this. If I didn't have soccer, I would not know what to do with my day. But I'd probably say I'd be an architect. Oh, soccer idol. Obviously, Lionel Messi. Just phenomenal. Can't even put into words how good of a player he is. But another player is Jamie Vardy. His fight, his finishing, it's just incredible. And his work rate, it's just something I want to be like. I can draw. Not many people know that, but I can. I'm a decent drawer. Probably history. History always came easy and felt like I did well with that. Worst was probably science. Science struggled. I mean, I didn't struggle. The grades were fine, just grasping concepts and all that didn't go so well for me. Cheesecake, it's a classic. Also, I love king cake. Don't get much of that in Memphis, but whenever I come back home, I'm sure to get some New Orleans king cake. Worst job, oh man. Worked as a like a stalker at Big Lots, and that wasn't fun. Got decent money, but wasn't something I look back on, and not many happy moments. Probably Justin Bieber's new song. I think it's I'm One or I'm Just One, something like that. Not really a big JB fan, but he did well on that one.
So Mason is back and the guys are back at home Saturday night with a huge divisional matchup against Chattanooga. We'll have highlights and reaction of both that match plus the first leg of the Louisiana Cup. Next week when the Jesters Court returns at these times, we return to our regular time slot at 6:30 on Tuesday on CST with repeat airings on Wednesday and Thursday. All shows will be available each Thursday throughout social media, also on my YouTube channel, as well as on Twitter, at pboron88 and at NOLA Jesters. And that's all for this week. Thanks for joining us. For Coach Kenny Farrell, Paul Boron saying so long. Our first match of the season is a big one. We hope to see you out at Pan American Stadium Saturday night at 7 when the Jesters take on Chattanooga.